And welcome back to Glitter Budget with your hosts, Anjanette.
And Jess.
And we are continuing our spooky movies for the month of October.
Yeah.
And in this episode, we're discussing the movie Scream.
Oh, yeah.
Ah,
Directed by Mr. Wes Craven and written by Kevin Williamson.
Not Kenneth.
No, I don't know why I kept saying Kenneth, but before we jump into other stuff, before I forget, fun fact, the Scream franchise was the first and so far only franchise that it was directed by the same director all the way through. So Wes Craven did
Ah.
1, 2, 3, and 4. And I think Kevin Williamson had either writing credits or like co-wrote
Mhm.
the other scripts as well. So unfortunately, that might no longer be a thing if they follow through with making Scream 5, which will make me sad.
Oh, that's right, because he's dead, right?
Yes.
Right. Sorry. When did he die?
2 years ago, I think.
Oh.
Like semi-recently.
Right. All right. Yeah. That would suck.
Yeah. But is what it is. I mean, these
Yeah.
things happen.
But this movie came out in 1996.
Mm-hmm.
And other events that happened in that same year. Get out my trusty dusty notes. The Chicago Bulls, which is a sports ball team, they do with the basketball, led by Michael Jordan, set a new NBA record for most wins in a season, and they got their 70th win.
It's insane.
That's a lot of numbers.
It's a large number.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's we go. Tupac Shakur died that year
Yeah.
after attending a wrestling match. Wrestling?
boxing.
Boxing. That's Tyson. Mike Tyson.
Mike
Yes.
Tyson.
He's going to come for me. And Nintendo released the N64 that year in North America.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, this movie, Scream, I remember watching it around the time that it came out.
Yeah.
And that was the first, and that I hadn't watched it until recently. So, it's been many moons.
See, it's one of my favorites. Love scary movies. I love the genre. I just love what like Wes Craven obviously has done countless horror films before he made Scream, but I just love the fact that it almost makes fun of scary movies.
It's kind of like a satire on it, because like
a little bit.
they point out the rules in every horror movie. Like the virgin's gonna be the only one that will survive. Like, so don't have sex, don't drink or do drugs.
Yep.
Never say I'll be right back because you won't be back.
Never ask who's there.
Yeah. And what was there was another one that the killer actually mentions.
I think one of the ones the killers mentioned was like asking who's there.
Mhm.
What was the other one?
It'll come to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was they were originally going to call it Scary Movie, and then they didn't.
So of course there's the spoof Scary Movie
Mhm.
that was eventually done later down the line, but they do mention they do say Scary Movie like a countless amount of times in Scream.
Mhm.
And then eventually I think it starts in Scream 2, where there's the spin-off of what happened via Stab. Is like the franchise,
Right,
the
yeah.
Scream franchise within the Scream franchise.
Movie within a movie.
Yes.
Interesting.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's what I liked about it though, is that they kind of call out the formula for most scary movies. And there's like a couple comments too, like Sydney's character is just like, I kind of find it like insulting. Like they always have like some big breasted girl who should be running out the front door when, they run up the steps, and then like
Yeah.
2 seconds later, because she locked her front door again and couldn't get the chain off the door, she's attached and ends
Yeah.
up running up the steps.
Yep. I just
But I thought it was funny though. I mean, I guess like gut instinct would say go into your room, I guess, but leading up to that, she's locking like all the doors, and she has a rooftop deck that leads to outside, and she could have gotten down. So she could have
Yeah.
ran upstairs to get back outside, and whatever.
yeah, I get, like you said, heat of the moment, you might not think, and you're just trying to put as much distance between you and the person behind you, but like when you're watching it, you're like, you fool! Just like how they're all like
Yeah.
later on, Jamie Kennedy's character, Randy, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Randy's like, go out, look behind you, and like Ghostface is right behind him.
Yeah.
And
His obs-
I remember from the first Scary Movie where they're like, "What's
Yeah.
that?" That's what I liked.
Well, they have Wes Craven in Scary Movie
Hmm.
film. It was it Shannon Doherty's Sydney's character, I think. And she was saying like how dumb it was and how like a monkey could do this, and I think they had the monkey as like Ghostface.
No, that was in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Oh fuck, you're right. Wow. Sorry. It all blurs together.
It's all some kind of satire, but yeah, that
Oh,
was
God. Wow.
that was Jay and Silent
That's
Bob Strike Back.
As
I
I was
knew
saying it, I'm like,
something.
this doesn't sound right.
Yeah, she's like, there was a monkey, there was a chimpanzee.
Sorry.
They're in a different family.
Wow. Anyways. But no, I don't know. I just one of my favorite movies, like I said, I liked how, they pay homage to like over 15 different horror movies. There's definitely a couple of scenes. If it wasn't mentioned directly, there's a couple scenes that were kind of taken from other horror movies, like in the beginning, which one of my favorite opening scenes to a scary movie. I don't know.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was Drew Barrymore. They Wes Craven kept her crying by telling her horrible animal cruelty things.
Yeah.
Fucker. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. I'm not a horror movie fan. Like this whole month, I'm gonna be like, but I thought it was interesting. I liked the concept of this movie where they kind of keep you guessing as to who it is and blah blah blah, and the fact that these two fucking psychopaths, like, how long were they plotting this for that?
Well,
Like,
I-
like, because Skeet Ulrich's character, if that's how you pronounce his last name, I don't know, but like, he said his motive behind doing it essentially was that Sydney's mom slept with his dad, which caused his mom to leave.
Yeah.
And so I don't know when she left. I don't know how long she's been gone, but that he has an abandonment issue, and that's when he first started
Well,
getting the idea.
Well, he had admitted though to killing her mom and framing Cotton.
Yeah.
So clear for at least over a year.
Oh yeah. At least there's that. But like, how long was it since his mom left? Did they mention that in the movie?
They don't, but I would imagine probably the same year that he ended up, I would think, killing her mom. So I don't know.
Well, she'd had a reputation before she ended up
That's
dying.
true too. Yeah.
She was apparently the town bicycle. Everyone's had a ride.
Oh. Yeah, but they they don't really say too like how he got Stu on board. Stu was just kind of like, yeah, sure, totally go on
Yeah.
a killing spree with you.
I think
What?
Stu is probably more of the book. Oh my god, I can't even think of the textbook version of like a psychopath.
Yeah,
Someone
true.
who's just like, he's just down for it. Like, when you kind of got like a feel for that when what's his name, Billy?
Yeah.
Skeet's call his character, where he was just like, all right, give me the knife, and he's like, no. And they're both psychopaths, but I think Stu's
I think Stu
character was
kind of
just
started to
like,
realize like he's kind of gone off the deep end, and I don't know if he's gonna like follow through with both of us surviving.
yeah. And they got theirs. He met a very sticky end with the TV.
Yeah, so that was one of the scenes that was kind of taken from Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. There's a scene in there where a girl dies via television.
Fascinating.
You're lucky I didn't pick that one. We'll watch the first one though.
Why would 3? Why the third one and not like the first one in the series? I've seen that
Like,
one. Of the Nightmare on Elm Street ones.
Like why they put it in this movie, or why we're not?
Reviewing, like, if you said like, would that have been, out of all the Nightmare movies, would that have been your top choice?
It's a tie between the first and the third.
So,
I don't know. It was good. Whatever.
I don't think any of them are good. But
They had mentioned the first one. in the beginning with Drew Barrymore when he asked her, "What's your favorite scary movie?" And why, like, she kept playing along with this dude, like, after calling so many times, she was finally like, "All right, like, I'll talk to you." I don't know.
Yeah, I just think that like as soon as I did not recognize the sound of that creepy, fucking hang up the phone and then take the phone off the hook or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess you won't really know until you're in that situation. But everyone got caller ID
Yes.
after this movie came out.
It increased, like, by, like, what, fourfold or whatever it was?
Yeah, like 3 or 4-fold. Like, just the sales went through the roof. They're like, caller ID, yes.
And they bring that up later. I think it was the second or third one. I think it was the second one. Sydney, like, she's in college and she
Mhm.
gets a phone call and rolls over and you can see the caller ID.
Yeah.
So she's like, "I learned my damn lesson."
Fuck yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I know, like, Stu, who is played by Matthew,
Lillard.
thank you. As didn't really like he didn't plan to audition for the role. Like, he was by the studio. His girlfriend was auditioning for something else, and the casting director was like, "Hey, you want to audition for this film? Like, you look like you
Hey,
would
you
fit."
look like a psychopath.
I guess he hated his performance in that movie.
It's an interesting performance. Like it's very kind of like over the top, kind of like your Drop Dead Fred.
Yeah,
Um, but that kind of jives with Matthew Lillard just in general. Like a lot of his movies kind of I think that's just him or like he can be very you know, you're just like, okay, that's interesting, Matthew. Thank you.
I just thought that was funny though because I think like I loved his performance in it. I think most people did.
Hmm.
And I guess apparently like he had you know, a lot of ups and downs with like depression and just, you know, being frustrated with the industry and stuff like that. And I guess Wes Craven had personally called his parents and was like, "It was a pleasure working with your son. Like he was amazing. He's gonna win an Oscar someday. Like just make sure he keeps at it." And apparently like that really, really, really stuck with Matthew and kind of kept him going, like, you know, and struggles with throughout his career. So I was like, oh. It's like, despite the fact that Wes Craven had to say some horrible things to keep the scene going to Drew Barrymore, I guess like he was known to be very easy to work with. I guess
Hmm.
Rose McGowan said that was like probably her favorite memories of working on that movie and with
Hmm.
that cast, like of all the movies that she's ever worked on,
Yeah.
despite the fact that she unrealistically got smushed by the garage door.
Yeah.
That never would have happened.
It was quite interesting. I I've also never really seen a cat flap in a garage door like that. Like one of the panels taken out. Like yeah, it makes sense. Also, like it's just a weird place for a cat flap too.
Yeah, she totally could have fit though.
She definitely could have. And I don't know, it's we were we were discussing earlier like that there were parts of this movie that seemed kind of like really like the curfew that so after like 2 murders the entire town goes under a curfew. It's a mandated curfew at 9 p.m. and all of the stores are closing hours before this curfew with signs on the door saying closed because of the curfew.
Yeah,
But they're closing up shop at like 5, 6 p.m. or whatever.
yeah.
And it's just
I feel like I don't know. I mean, I had mentioned it. Will was just like, well, it's a really small town, and like, you know, he's like, he was like, how many murders happened in like in our town? I was like, 2 weeks ago, some guy was shot in our street.
yep.
So I don't know. I don't know if it's just because we're so jaded and like desensitized to it, but he's like, I don't know. It's a really, really, really small town. There's like what 2 or 3 cops. Like it's a small police station.
Yeah. It
Like
was
you said, they
also
work
like the
pretty.
nature of the crimes
Yeah,
too.
and they hadn't caught the killers. Like it, but I'm like, nah, I just don't feel like there'd be a curfew.
I don't know if they would do a mandatory curfew. I think that they would strongly suggest like if you have to go out in groups or whatever.
Yeah.
And they would probably suggest if you not be out past a certain time. I don't know if they would actually like mandate a curfew though.
No, probably not. I don't
But
see it happening.
I just based on like the nature of the crimes though, because like just consider what had happened to not only
Yeah.
um Drew Barrymore's case, character, her name was Casey, right? And
Yeah.
her boyfriend, they the manner in which they were killed, like he was duct taped to a chair, literally gutted. Like his innards were his outwards,
Yeah.
and she same thing happened to her, and she was hung from a tree.
Yeah, true.
So imagine if those crimes happened in this area. I think they would be like yeah, no, you're not going out. You're just stay the fuck inside.
Yeah.
Don't do it. It's not good. Um,
It's like when I was younger, I never questioned that though.
yeah, like the curfew or
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I guess, I don't know, it's just, I don't know. I think I looked like way too into it as an adult. I'm like, murders happen every day. That wouldn't happen. Curfew.
Well, murders, yes. Those
Slaughters,
kind of
no.
those yeah, violent, horrific murders, not so much. Especially in that like short of a time span too.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't, yeah. I mean, just, that was probably, though, I think the very beginning of the movie of how it started was probably the most, like, gory, per se,
yeah,
like, in the film. So it started, like I said, it started out just punching you right in the gut of just like, what just happened?
yeah,
Right when he like catches her and does like the first like killing blow, it kind of slows down. Both of them are running towards like the screen, which was filmed very similarly.
similarly,
Thank you, as a Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
right.
So that was another like homage to that. But as Randy's character is like just stupid into like horror movies, so he's the one
Mhm.
that comes up with like the rules. Most of like the kind of throwbacks or mentions of scary movies come from him.
Yeah.
Like, when they're in the the video store of just like they just spent their time watching Prom Night Revisited. They would learn so much.
Yeah. He was just freaking out.
Everybody's a suspect.
I think Wes Craven liked Jamie Kennedy like improvising some humor into his lines, and that's
Yeah.
why like he just kind of like let him do it.
Good stuff though.
hmm
I don't know. I mean, I thought it was very interesting though, like all the stuff that they went through to be able to film this.
Yeah.
As far as like finding the right location, the original school that they wanted to use, which was like what the Santa Cruz High School.
Yeah, Santa Rosa or something like that.
Yeah, Santa Rosa. And I guess once they read, they agreed to it. They're like, yeah, sure, like that's awesome. And then they read the script and they were like, no,
They backed out
no.
very last minute. So in the credits where it says the special thanks, Wes Craven was like, no thanks whatsoever to like the Santa Rosa or Santa Cruz, whatever school district of California, just kind of like a big double
Fuck
bird
you.
to them going like literally no thanks whatsoever to them because fuck you.
I don't know. Like, apparently the school they thought it was a comedy, but that was actually how kind of Weinstein
Not
was.
Harvey,
No, but
but
still.
the other one. But still, as a Weinstein nonetheless, that's how they got the rating that they were able to because they had to keep um sending in
Different cuts.
different
Yeah.
cuts to the MPAA to try to get not an NC-17 rating. And then Bob
Yeah.
Weinstein goes in and it's just like he went and changed their mind and Wes is like, what the fuck do you have to do? And he's like, I just told him to watch it like it's a comedy movie, not a horror film.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, okay. Slap an R rating on it.
Which makes no sense.
Yep.
Like none whatsoever, because the content has not changed.
I think it was different for each person that read the script. Some people were like, "Oh my god, it was too gory for me." Some people were like, "What the fuck is this? This is satire." And like just it was different. People interpreted it differently depending on who was reading it. And it's just
Yeah.
like I I think that it's more of like a satirical horror thriller type thing.
It for sure definitely has an edge of comedy to it, like
Yeah.
without a doubt. I just think it's fun. I guess you're right though. I guess stuff like that definitely is subjective
hmm
depending on who's watching it, because I feel like there are like a dozen of horror movies that have been made that are an R rating that were so much more gory and graphic than this one,
Yeah.
like hands down. So I thought that was pretty interesting that they had such a hard time getting an R rating.
Yeah, I just think when you're on that line between like where they were crossing, so they were kind of like in between genres, and they were
Right.
towing the line on both sides, and people just don't know how to take it. So they're like, "Well, if I don't know, it is stupid. Like it makes no sense for it to be like, well, if this is a horror, then we got to give it NC-17. Like I don't know if they're only giving that because the first like the opening scene is the most graphic, I think.
For sure.
And it seems like the most realistic. Everything else, like, it definitely looks like it's corn syrup dyed red.
Yeah.
Like, poor Nev Campbell's hair near the end.
Oh,
You're just
God.
like, oh, God. She probably just had to shave her head after that. Like, what the fuck? It's just covered. And, yeah, that party scene
Oh,
was,
yeah. So, so the whole film only took 2 months to make.
mhm.
But that particular scene, though, because they have to start filming like as the sun's going down, so them like talking about the party, getting like the party, booze, food, all that kind of stuff. And then at the very end, you have to get the idea that this happened and went through all night. So at the end, Gail Weathers, played by Courtney Cox, basically after she just gotten the shit kicked out of her and stuff, is like, nope, let's go live. I don't even care. Like, give me the
Yeah.
mic. But the sun's coming up in the background, so they had. I think it was what, like 40 minutes, that whole from
Yeah,
start
like
to finish?
42 minutes for the ending.
Yeah.
And then it took
21
21 days.
So almost half of their filming of the entire movie was spent just on 42 minutes of it because of like the time frame that they had to try to film. And I guess they were starting to get like so delirious and burnt out with trying to film that they were like, I survived cut 118.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yes. Yeah, so they were wearing shirts that said, I survived scene 118.
I guess Courtney Cox actually approached the studio to be casted because she wanted to kind of get away from her like bubbly, friendly personality in Friends. She was like, no, I could totally be a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, let me be a bitch. I want to get out of this. And she was a cunt.
I wouldn't say cunt. I would say that she was a small time journalist trying to make it big, and she was going to do kind of not like whatever she had to do, but she was willing to go above and beyond. But I don't think she did anything.
I just think like the whole drama between like Sydney Prescott's mother being murdered
Yeah.
is what she had based her career off of writing a book about how Cotton was framed.
Yeah.
And
But she was right.
She was, yeah, she ended up being right. But I guess, Sydney kind of was like, well, you didn't take any consideration of what this was going to do to our families,
Mhm.
like calling me a liar when, when you're coming home and seeing certain things in a traumatic event, like your brain plays tricks on you. So it's not like she was lying to get like this innocent man locked up.
No.
She truly believed like that's what had happened.
Mhm.
But she was just kind of like so snarky about it, just knowing that she was upset and be like, I'll send you a signed copy of my book.
Yeah.
Like that was a dick
That
move.
that was kind of uncool. But hey, she got her comeuppance. She was punched, and she kind of dealt with it. She's like, yeah, that I deserve that.
Yeah. Yeah, she definitely didn't like try to cry a victim or anything like that about it.
No, she was just like, I don't want to get punched again. So if you can stay over there if that's what you want to do. But she didn't try like having anyone go after Sydney
No.
for punching her or anything like that. But
I guess Nev Campbell didn't want to do the movie because it was released the same year, I think, as The Craft. That she was just in, so she didn't really want to do like another like horror movie. And then they were like, oh well, Skeet Ulrich is being cast, like you're gonna play like side by side with him again, who she had also played with in The Craft. So that was kind of like her deciding factor to be cast as lead role.
yeah.
And then he was semi-cast for his similar
Yes.
looks to a young Johnny Depp, who
Was a Nightmare.
yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street, which was his first
Yeah.
movie, yeah, that he had done, which was also with Wes Craven. So
I don't know. Is it bad that I've never seen The Craft?
wow, what?
No.
You've never seen The Craft?
Nope.
I don't know what's on our list for the rest of the movies, but guess what just got put in?
Is that a horror movie?
It's
A scary
considered.
movie?
Yeah, it's considered. That's it. I mean, it's about witches.
So is Hocus Pocus.
It was made for kids.
Yes, and
I feel like that's your answer.
I would say I
like,
would
what
maybe
would it be? Like, what category would it be in? What genre?
Halloween movies? I don't know. What would you consider Hocus Pocus?
Because I think there's a difference between Halloween movies that are for kids, like Hocus Pocus
I don't think
and
it's for kids. I
Casper.
think it's for all ages. So is
Listen, I'm not
Casper.
all right. I'm not disagreeing, but their target audience when they made it was for children. Same with Casper. Like it's a children's family movie that's Halloween esque.
Yeah.
Anyways,
See, those are my Halloween movies, okay? None of this fucking shit. I just don't see the draw.
Most people don't.
I think I'm in the minority. I know a lot of people really do love. I'm surrounded by you freaks that love these horror movies.
I don't know. I grew up with them. They're fun.
I don't know. Where's the fun? What fun?
I like to be scared. It's fun to be safely scared.
Safely scared, and yet you did not want to watch Arachnophobia.
Because it's not safe. It's real.
And killers aren't real?
Come on.
Come on.
Hellraiser.
Hell,
That's not real.
I've never seen
Cenobites,
that one, so I don't know.
Cenobite devils coming up from hell, not real. Exorcist, although in some religions would debate that it's real, not real. Okay. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, probably not real.
Not that you know of.
The Craft, not real. Like the one scary movie that like legit gave me the creeps, actually there's been a couple, but was Hostel, because I could see that happening. It probably does happen.
See, that one I've seen. That's...
And again, all right, so that movie got an R rating.
Which I would definitely put that way over.
Way over.
The scene with the Achilles tent. But that's another reason why I don't like horror films or movies that do like gore for gore's sake. I forget. I think it was like the remake of The Hills Have Eyes,
Yeah.
where they just splatter a cow on... It's in the beginning of the movie. Like they're driving this van or truck or whatever down this random ass abandoned highway in the middle of the desert, and one random ass cow is going across the road somehow, and then they just blast right into it, and the cow splatters everywhere. I'm like, what? What was the purpose of that?
To get you like, it's like a prelude to what's to come.
Stupidity, tomfoolery, dumb fuckery. That's the prelude. That's what we're in for. Nonsense.
I don't know. Listen, I like the genre. I'm sorry you don't. I'm not a huge fan of rom-coms. Really, there's like a handful of like romantic comedies that I like, and it's maybe 5.
I don't know. I also don't like these fucking horror movies that have needless, senseless rape. And they'll focus on it for a good portion of the movie.
And yet you love Outlander. Like, don't even go there.
Okay.
Don't even
Don't even go.
No,
Don't even go there. You don't even go there.
Don't even go there.
No.
I don't want to hear it.
I don't want to hear you.
And this episode is now over.
No. Real quick before we end. Okay? Let's just... The reason there's so much rape in Outlander...
I don't want to hear that it's a timepiece period.
It also is, though.
I don't want to hear, but it's okay because it's a timepiece period for the extent and the detail and the length of those scenes are fine because it's a timepiece period, but it's not fine because it's in a horror movie.
The
rape is rape. Like,
I'm not saying I enjoy it and I'm like, oh, this is my kind of rape. I like this because it's in the past times. This is why I like this rape. No. I'm not saying I like it. I'm just saying I still don't understand it, but that I could cope with better because there is a lot more that is not rape throughout the entire series. And in movies like The Hills Have Eyes, don't they rape their sister? What is going on in that movie?
I've seen the original like once or twice, but it's essentially like people who had lived out, I think in like the eras, like whatever.
Were they
Mexico,
the cannibals?
They're basically like lived in that area when they started to do nuclear testing. So they're the product of having too much nuclear exposure. So, they're not, and there's some incest going on there. So they're not quite right.
Right.
Yeah. But not all horror movies, though.
No.
Hence the one that we just watched. No rape.
No, and that's what I didn't mind this one. I saw the first Nightmare on Elm Street. It's a little goofy, cheesy,
Eh.
and I think I've seen, for the most part, any of the horror movie franchises. I've seen the first. Friday the 13th. I think I saw that one. Is that the one with Jason?
Technically, Jason
His
is in
mother.
the first one. Yeah.
But yeah, but that's
But yeah,
that's
that's
his
a franchise,
His
yeah.
franchise. That's Jason. So I remember Mrs. Voorhees.
Yes.
That one's silly, I think.
Yeah, it was rough. But Halloween.
I don't think I've seen that one.
No, that was like, I don't.
Is that the hockey mask?
No, that's Jason.
That's Jason.
Yeah.
So Halloween is the Reagan mask. What is it? What kind of mask is he wearing?
It's just a white creepy mask. Just that is now known as like the Michael Myers mask.
Right. Okay. Michael Myers.
Yeah, but that was like Jamie Lee
Machete? Or is
Yes.
that Jason?
No, that was Jason. It was the like butcher's knife.
Do they bring that up in Scream?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just the other guy with a mask and a.
Yep.
It just depends on like the length of the.
Yep. They bring that up. They had I think Rose McGowan's character at some point, which was like, oh, it's a stupid like Wes Carpenter film, which
Yes.
is like a homage to Carpenter did Halloween, and then of course like Wes Craven.
Mhm.
So yeah, no, they bring up Halloween a lot. Actually in the very beginning when Drew Barrymore's parents come home and he says, go down to the Mackenzies,
Mhm.
call the police. That's the same line that Jamie Lee Curtis's character said to the kids that she was watching. Just go down
Yeah.
the Mackenzies, call the police.
Right.
So there's like a lot of homage to
Yeah.
Halloween. Randy's character was like obsessed with Jamie Lee Curtis, the Scream Queen,
The Scream Queen.
who is the daughter of the actress who plays inside the shower scene in Psycho.
Right.
So it's
right,
like,
right.
it was meant to be.
'Twas. But they in the when he is quizzing, the killer is quizzing Drew Barrymore's character, saying like, okay, well, I'll give you a warm-up question. And I think she gets that one right.
Yeah.
But then the other one, it's who's the killer in the first Friday the 13th movie, Friday the 13th, and she says Jason. He's like, no.
Yep.
It was his mom. And she's like, that was a trick question. He's like, still got it wrong. You're dead.
Yep.
And a lot of people do get that one wrong because I think
Yeah, well, like you said, I mean, I think that's the franchise is Jason. Like that's who you think
Mhm.
of. So I think that's understandable.
I think I saw that Freddy versus Jason. I saw that.
Yeah. I just the Nightmare on Elm Street series like just gets cheesier and cheesier and campier, and like the corny one-liners like just increases as the series goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to Freddy versus Jason. It's really bad.
Yep. Wasn't good. But like, I don't know. For me personally, I would prefer a thriller. Like a
Okay.
serial killer kind of thriller movie, like Silence of the Lambs or just any of those kind of movies, rather than straight up horror.
Or,
Because
like slasher films, essentially.
slasher films. I'm just like,
It's like what creeps me out. Like possession movies, if they're done well, like The Exorcist still kind of scares the crap out of me. It just rubs me the wrong way. But
Your Mother Sucks Cocks in Hell. Yeah.
yeah.
That's it. There was some interesting dialogue. Linda Blair made a cameo in this movie.
Yes, she did. And of course Henry Winkler.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple scenes like in like the principal's office or whatever where like he goes to fix his hair like he did as the
Yeah.
Fonz. The Fonz jacket is like in the closet.
Yeah. And yeah, that was kind of
Yeah.
funny.
But I don't know, those movies freak me out, and then I don't like feeling claustrophobic and like you can't get out. So like the movie The Descent
Never
just
seen that
made me like really uncomfortable. And then we recently watched a movie called As Above, So Below, which is almost like a Descent meets Laura Croft meets Dante's Inferno combination. And it was actually really good. It wasn't
Interesting.
bad at all. It's on Netflix, but it's essentially this girl is picking up like her father's work as an alchemist and historian. So she's trying to find this gem.
An alchemist?
Yes.
Okay, I thought you said alchemist.
No.
I was like, an alchemist. She's just doing it's all chemistry,
That's all it is. Yes.
no biology.
It leads her to the catacombs in Paris. So it leads her to the catacombs there, and basically they get stuck in the catacombs with God knows what. Essentially, where the Dante's Inferno thing comes in, it's like their own fears, or like one thing in their life that they really regret that they never made amends for keeps coming up. So if you don't make amends for it, like that's what ultimately ends up killing you. It was just, I don't know, it was just freaky, and it's just that intense feeling of like feeling like you can't get out and you're stuck and you're lost just freaks me the fuck out. Makes me really
Okay.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's not my cup of tea of going in specifically to be like anxious and stuff. It doesn't get my jollies off. If it gets yours off, then that's fine.
I never said I was normal.
I never said I was either. That's why we're here. Yeah, what's the next movie we're doing?
I'll get back to you on that one.
All right, cool.
Sorry, I changed my mind. I had a lot to pick from, and I also Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, all right.
I like Wes Craven films.
So are we just
I'm not sorry?
sticking with Wes Craven? I think Wes Craven should have his own category then.
Do you want to watch all Wes Craven's? Do you want to do that to yourself? Because he did the original Hills Have Eyes.
I'm just saying, if we're doing fair is fair, I think if we're gonna do horror movies for the month of October, we shouldn't just keep to one director.
Fine.
If you want to do one director, we can have a director series separately.
Okay. Don't yell at me when you have to watch all these movies that you don't like.
Just don't worry, I'll get you back.
I feel like you have for the month of November.
What's happening? What's wrong with November? What's happening in November? Huh? Huh?
Well, I had to watch your horrible
What?
animated film.
My horrible animated film. Wow. Wow. Okay. All right. So let's see how this plays out. Let's see how this plays out.
It's not going to play out in my favor. I already know that.
No. No.
I love
You
you.
thought arachnophobia was bad. We're going to dive in to things that I know you're going to fucking hate.
Great. Yeah, I can't even complain. I asked for this. It's fine.
You did. This is all voluntary. We don't have
I
to
know,
do
right?
much. I don't know why we're both like, oh my God. Like, we do this to ourselves because, I don't know, we just like it. So stupid. Anyway, you can watch Scream. I had to rent it through Comcast or Amazon.
I own it.
Oh, well, you could own it too. That works. But if you don't own it, like some of us plebes, you can rent it through Amazon Video or through Comcast On Demand.
Yes.
All right. So we'll do whatever movie is next.
Sorry.
That'll be a surprise you'll have to see in the next episode. But if you haven't already, watch/listen to our previous episode on arachnophobia. It was super awesome cool. Jess had tons of fun.
It was awful.
It was amazing. I love it. Anyway, so we're going to have all of our social medias linked in the description box down below. And if you like our vibe, please like and subscribe. And we'll see you on our next episode. Bye.